Thank you. Welcome back. Vendors will continue after the event. We don't want to take too much time. We should be done with everything in about an hour, okay? Please, let's have our seats. If you can someone please close the door leading outside so you can, thank you. And if you can all move forward. Welcome back. I hope you got to meet someone, you purchased something, you talked with someone. All right. And we have Miss Melissa Harville-Lebron in the building. So she has such a very lovely spirit. Anyway, I will introduce more of her later. All right, thank you. Now we're going to be talking about, in the next, I'm going to try and do it in a very short time. We're going to be talking about a topic called failure, the path to success. Failure, the path to success. In your folders, or if you can get a little piece of paper, can you tell me one regret you have in your life? Can you write it down, one thing you regret the most in your life? Okay, no, let's start with this. Write the worst failure you've had in your life. The worst failure. You may need a few seconds to think about it. Write the worst failure you've had in your life. Write it down somewhere. I'm just going to go straight to it. Now, there are different things that prevent a person from succeeding, and on the top of that list is the fear of failure. It's the fear of failure, and not failure itself. Failure is innocent. It's the fear of failure that has made a lot of people to fail. Just like how they say the love of money and not money itself that's the problem. The fear of failure has paralyzed a lot of people. So have you all written out have you taken time to think about it? The worst failure the worst regrets you had. Now on another side, if you check in your folders, you have like a little call-out card that you can write it. On one side, write the worst regrets you have, and on the other side, the worst failure you've had in your life. Don't worry, so we're not going to share it publicly, so just in case, hey. We did an exercise. If you know the reality of it is, if I had money and I gave you $2 million and I say, you know what, you need to invest this money. I'll be back in a couple of years. Apart from when you've done the planning and everything, I'll be back in 2 years. I need you to give me my money back with interest, or I'll throw you in jail. Either you give me my money as it is, or give me back with interest, or I'll throw you in prison. You know, a lot of us will not do anything with that money. True or false? Why? You're afraid that, man, I don't want to mess things up. I don't want to go to jail, so I'll just keep this money somewhere. I do not want any issues. And the truth of the matter is, that's how most of us live our lives. Your ideas are there. It doesn't have to be that you've been giving money. It's the ideas are there. The thoughts keep coming and things. But because we are afraid of failing, I'll share you a story. When T-Mobile started in Charlotte, I used to work for Verizon. When we called competition, we did not even think of T-Mobile or T-Mobile, whichever. They were not even on our radar. By the way, they were not in Charlotte at that time. People used to come from like California or somewhere like that. They'd be like, I have T-Mobile. I'm like, they're in the US. I thought they were a UK company, please. Next thing, they bought Suncom. And at some point, AT&T tried to buy them. But because the government did not agree with that arrangement, they had an agreement that if the deal did not pull through, AT&T was going to give T-Mobile a lot of money. And that's how T-Mobile blew up. The government did not agree. They got a lot of money and they blew up. Right now, I actually use Twin Mobile or T-Mobile, whichever way. So, someone, I think he goes to Pastor LB in Elevation, he said, we have forfeited way more potential than anyone has ever stolen, than any devil or anything has ever stolen. We just let it go. We don't do anything with it. The idea comes, and we just let it go. The truth about things is that the iceberg of success rests on the bottom part of the other iceberg that we don't see, of failure. For you to succeed at anything, you have to try and try. But the problem is that a lot of times we try the first time, and the moment that anything happens, we run back. Edison, everybody knows the popular Thomas Edison. He tried 1,000 times to do. I don't know about that. Sometimes if I try something once or twice, I get discouraged and I turn back. Why? Because we are afraid of failure. The satisfaction you derive from trying something and failing is much more fulfilling than the remorse you get not trying something because you were afraid. Should I repeat that? The satisfaction you derive from trying something and failing is much more fulfilling than the remorse you get not trying something because you were afraid of failure.
True.
You know, Jeff Bezos, I don't know how to pronounce his last name, so you pardon me. When he wanted to start Amazon, which is worth $1 trillion, you just saw that in the news. He said his boss told him, I mean, he had a good job. So it wasn't like he had a good job, had everything good going for him, but he just had that thing in him that he had to do. So the boss said, you know, at best, you know, people will know you, but I don't know, why do you want to leave this comfortable job? But he said, he knows that if he doesn't do what's in his mind, he doesn't want to get to the end of his life and regret not doing what he had. Can you imagine the world without Amazon? A lot of happy husbands, I think, because your wives are sending their money. Oh, anyway, let's get back on track. Failure is only a stumbling block, or should I say a stepping stone, to help you reach success faster, because of the process of failure teaches you how not to do something or how to do it better.
True.
But most times we think failure is a learning process. It's not a conclusion. You should not allow failure to conclude you. It's only part of the process. But the problem is that most times we run into things that we do not like, that scare us, that cause a problem. We run back. And we then allow that failure to conclude us. It is the strength of character that enables us to get up and keep going when we failed. When you've pushed past failure, when you push past that thing, at the end of failure is always success. And I'll tell you, failure was never meant to be, like I said, a conclusion, except you make it to be. It's all part of the story. So do not allow the fear of failing. No, I'm not even saying failure. The fear of you failing. Do not allow it to make you live a mediocre life. I'm not talking, see, it's not all about making money. It's way more than that. There's always something. I believe that everybody has a light. There's something in you. There's a part we all have to play in this world. It doesn't matter how big your role is or how little it is. Play your part and things will be a lot better. You know, the interesting thing is that success is also never a complete process. It keeps evolving. If you rest on your success, you fail. You know why? I would say ask Blockbuster, ask BlackBerry, and ask Nokia. Once upon a time, Nokia used to be one of the best-selling phones. Because I'm sure they were afraid to, we got it good. Maybe they were afraid to fail. They got comfortable, and they're no longer. You know what the boss of Nokia said? He said, I don't know what happened. We did it all right, but we failed. They were afraid to move past and get into. I knew when Apple started, iPhone started. Tara and I worked with Verizon 10 years, right? I worked with Verizon 10 years. I saw the evolution of stuff. When they used to tell people take text, they'll be like, what? Text? I'll never do that in my life. Same thing, once BlackBerry was the fastest selling device. They refused. They got so complacent. You know, when you are afraid of failure, you mean you're being complacent. You're not trying to take risks. You're not trying to evolve. You're not trying to modify. And before you know, evolution happens and you're left behind. I remember when Netflix started. I don't have to tell you where Netflix is now. Even anything people are streaming now, they say, are you watching Netflix? Even if they're watching something, it's become, a word, a descriptive household name. Thank you. So that means the more successful you want to be, the more you have to keep changing. And the more you keep changing, the more you keep encountering failure so you can become more successful. I'll tell you some quotes from Steve Harvey. He says, success is not a straight line. It is crooked, up and down, in valley, up the mountain. He says he was talking to an audience. He said he bets that he's failed more than everybody in that audience. You're never too old. Everything he said he's ever done started with fear. I'm sure she'll tell you her story. Everything. At some point, at so many points, I was afraid. You know what I used to tell? I used to tell Bola and tell Nikki, I said, oh my God, I don't even know why I did this. Why did I plan this thing? It's like I've beaten up more than I can chew. You know when people say, dream big, aim for the sun, worst case you hit the stars. I'm like, man, this is my big dream. It's scary. But I kept on going, and I thank God for wonderful people around, my husband, my mom, everybody believe me, everybody that supported. Anyway, that's appreciation for later. You have to surround yourself with dreamers. You have to lead. Life is a series of struggles. You cannot settle. Bill Gates or Warren Buffett said, they will not invest in a person's idea if they've not failed at least twice. Because before you fail, everything is a bubble. Oh my God, your idea seems so real. Now when you start running, then you know that reality is, would you turn back or would you keep going? I'll talk about someone called Moses, which happens to most of us. He was told, you're supposed to deliver these people. You're supposed to deliver the Israelites. And he got up, running to fulfill his dream, and he made a grave mistake. Yeah, a grave mistake because he killed somebody. And he ran, which is what happens to most of us. We run and he went to hide himself somewhere. It's not unusual. Sometimes, like we all learn from our practice, it's not like your ideas are bad. You just may not have the right way. That's why you surround yourself with people that can help you. People that will breathe life into, people that you brainstorm together. So, when one day he was tending to his father-in-law's sheep and he saw a burning bush, he needed that burning bush to ignite something back in him because he was already where he was sleeping. That's how we do things. Now, I'm going to tell you my story. I was working at Verizon. You can ask Tara. I'm not Tara. Before she started doing this, I bugged you almost every day. Tara, what are you doing here? I see something in you. You're very good. Do it. She's like, oh, Elza, I can't. Oh, my husband. I said, you're lucky. You even have someone that will take care of you. Blah 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 blah. And I'm glad she's here today. That's why I asked her to come speak. I'll tell you my story. I always have a passion to motivate people. It's just something that is default in me. It doesn't. If you talk to me long enough, I'll see something in you and I'll start telling you why you're not doing this. You know the funny thing. I celebrated my wedding anniversary recently and I put up the picture and there's a girl there. She said, Elza, you were the very first person's makeup I did because you asked me to do it. And since then, it's always the story. Please, I'm not trying to toot my horn. It's just something that was a desire in me. I thought, so I left Verizon. Ask her. I left Verizon. I did not have okay, I registered to do my PhD. That was my backup plan, right? I was going to do my PhD in psychology. One day I'll do it, maybe. My husband saw how stressed I was. He was like, leave the job. I'm like, man, you're not even working. He said, leave. I took a bold step of faith and I left. I knew I had a desire and a passion to talk to people, to motivate people, to bring out the best in people. It's just something in me. And I thought I had to be successful first. So I started. Instead of me to follow my passion of speaking to people, I started one big. I thought, okay, maybe when I'm a successful entrepreneur or I'm a big name, then people will want to listen to me. So I started. Okay. I went. Before then, I'd written a book. Let me tell you the different things. I've written a book. I've done blogging. I'm into e-commerce right now. I have done internet radio. I have started a movie streaming business. It doesn't matter. If my mind tells me to do something, believe me, it's like I don't have any rest if I don't do it. Things that I have no idea of, I do it. If you tell me anything, I will do it for you. I will find the information for you. I did it. Movie streaming business. There are people, if you want to get into that business, they won't even tell you how much to license stuff. I found the information. I did everything. But I kept on failing. I was so depressed. But mind you, before I left Verizon, I took a vacation and I said I just wanted to spend time meditating and talking to God. I just wanted to hear clearly from him. And I heard him say, go and start AFAV and these ideas you have. I started, I registered the business and I didn't do anything with it because I was chasing everything. And I encountered what I would consider one failure or another failure. I was just like, man, I was getting frustrated. But because I cannot sit still, I will try another idea. And to me, I kept on considering them one failure after another, after another. And my friend Bola, she told me one day, she said, you speak. She didn't even know. I met her like 2 years ago, I think. She said, you like motivating people. Why don't you encourage people? Why don't you speak? And I told her, I felt sad because I said, that is where my journey started. I love motivating people. I love speaking to people. I said, but I felt I had to be somebody to talk to people. She said, start speaking. And of late, I told you, I was depressed earlier today, this year. I was really depressed because I couldn't find meaning in my life, you know. I thank God for a wonderful husband I have. He encouraged me. I told him I'm a failure. I feel like a failure. I wake up every day feeling like a failure. Like, what have I done? I just feel like I keep failing in everything I do. And he encouraged me. He said, you're not a failure. You've done this. I said, and he told me to truth. He said, maybe you're not supposed to. He analyzed things for me. And I told him I feel like a failure. It's like I feel I failed in everything. He said, no, but you've done this. You've done that. Maybe you start business. I'm a project manager. It's just, you know how things arrange themselves. I'm a project manager. Project managers, you know what they did. We start a project. We are not operations. When we start your project, we leave it for you and you keep going. He said, maybe that's what you're supposed to do. You know, I did but last year, I went back to AFAB. We did a conference. We did a STEM conference. Miss Necker spoke. It was successful, thank God. We did a robotics thing. It was successful. And I was scared. This idea came to me. I was like, I'm not going to do it. But you know the interesting thing? What I felt like a failure, it's my failure I'm talking to you about today. My journey on what I considered failure is what gave me what I'm speaking about today. Because I did not plan. I had top. If you check the picture of mine, there was no topic on it. Maybe I put something. I had nothing to speak on. I kept on saying, I gave Tara a topic. I gave everybody, and I'm like, I don't even know what to talk about. And something said, speak on failure. Because that's one of the things that hinders people the most. The fear of failure, the fear of failing. Speak on it. And I started thinking, I know how to do social media marketing. Do what I considered a failure, I can market on social media. Why? Because I tried it on one of my business ventures. I know how to make videos. I know how to edit audio. I know how to write a book. I know how to start businesses. I've started businesses. I know how to start a non-profit. But all these things I was considering that I was failing, I didn't realize it was a process to making me be and do what I'm doing today. Because if you ask me, most people ask me stuff, I can tell you, I can rattle things off my mind. And if I don't have it, I'll tell you where you can get the answer. I'll tell you, oh, this. Why? Because all the processes I was going through and I was considering, I failed in this, I failed in that, I failed in this, I failed in that, I failed in this. I did not realize it was building to what it is. That's why we're here today. We're here today because I thought I'd failed. We're not here today because I thought I'd succeeded or I was a success. So we're here today because I thought I'd failed, because I considered myself a failure. That's why we're here today. So, now how do we learn from failure? First of all, you have to deal with yourself inward. I had to learn not to look for approval. I'm sure someone always saw me put approval and approval addiction. I had to learn inward. I had to look at myself. What do I want from me? I had to look inward and decide what it is I wanted. What is your motivation? What is driving you to want to do more? Whether you want to adopt, you want to start a business, what is that drive? Look inward, because it's not coming from outward. It doesn't matter what business is, or you have to still look inward to meet whatever it is outward. Secondly, while passion and desire is great, it takes more than passion to start. You need information. Get information. Go to conferences like this. It costs money. It costs, believe me, honestly speaking, we spent more money than we got, but we just knew it was something that, you can ask me, kid. We said, we feel that a lot of people are lacking, and we need to help people. That God just opened doors for people that come. Open their eyes. You need a support system to hold you accountable. Because if you go it alone, it's hard. You need someone to tell you when you're, because let me tell you, if you go it alone, most times nobody knows you're on a journey. So the moment you run into a problem, you turn back because you're discouraged. So you need a good support system. You can talk to us. We give you if you can network with us in our network. We have a group that we're working on. If you just need support, okay, I have this idea. What do we need to do? If you need to surround yourself with the right people. You need to get the right motivation. You need to be determined. You need to get the tools, accountability, that support, accountability for you to get the results you want. Then that failure, that's what you consider failure, will become a success. You just push past it and you find success at the end. Like Bill Gates said, reward-worthy failure is experimentation. When you fail, you're just experimenting with stuff to know how to do things better. Now in concluding, who wrote down a failure? Sorry, your worst regrets in life when we started. Who wrote down their worst regrets and who wrote down their worst failure in life? Did you write it down? You did. If you take a close look, your regret ends up not being as painful. Your regret, it usually was that your failure. When you try something and you fail, there's a learning experience. But when you do not try something because you are afraid you will fail, there's always that what if, and it torments you. So with that, I've come to the end of my talk. And I hope that next time, I'll tell you it's not money. Money is not it. You heard from Tara. It's not money. When we can overcome the fear of failure, not even failure, whatever that desire, that important thing that you desire to do, you begin to do it. Thank you very much. Now, without much ado, it's also kind of part of my story. When I was organizing this conference, we we were looking for who would be a keynote speaker. I had no idea, and I told her, she will share you a story. One day I can remember I was leaving my bedroom. I heard of her briefly. Maybe, you know how you're browsing through the internet, you hear of somebody, and I read her story. I was like, wow. I never put her in my mind like, hey. And one day I was in my bedroom, and as I was walking, I heard a voice say, ask Melissa to speak for you at this event. I'm telling you. Did I not tell you that? So I Googled her. I searched, and I was like, where would I be able to talk to her? And I contacted her on LinkedIn. And she responded. I'm like, what? And we kept on going back and forth. You know, do I share the story? Do you want to share the rest of it?
No, you go right ahead.
You know, I contacted her. I went back to Nikki. I said, Nikki, she said she would speak, right? I said, Nikki, but we don't have money. So, I don't know, this kind of person, how much is she going to collect from us? And I asked her, how much would you take from me? She said nothing.
Wow.
I went back to Nikki. She said she would collect nothing. She said, go back and ask. Are you sure? I went back. You know how many times did I ask her? She said, I won't collect anything from you. She said, you want me to speak? I said, yes, I want you to speak. She said, I'm not going to collect anything from you. So we started looking for a venue. We got a venue months later, and I called her back. I said, are you still going to speak to us for free? Because we're going to get you. We'll be thinking of September. She said yes. I went back. I said, Nikki. She said yes. I went back and I told her. She said, you know, since you called me, she said I was the very first person that asked her to speak. True or false? And since then, I follow her on social media. Almost, I mean, how many places have you?
God, I want to press run now.
She just came from somewhere. She's going somewhere where Robin Roberts. Tomorrow. She's been talking continuously, just like that. She said, Elza, right now they pay me. Should I?
No.
I said, are you still going to talk to us for free? She said, yes. Elza, you're my first. I'm not going to charge you anything. I went back to Nikki. I said, she's still not going to charge us anything. I was in the car with my mom that day. I said, can you believe it? You know how much they pay her to talk now? She just came from a pharmaceutical conference. She came to Charlotte. She was on Fox News yesterday. You saw her on Fox. CBS did a documentary on her. I mean, she was here in Charlotte for an award, Hall of Fame award. It's just like, I was like, if you wait, sometimes you lose your opportunity. Maybe if I'd waited, by the time I call her now, she's like, girl, I'm going to charge you that amount, I'm not going to tell you. To make it good, I told her, ma'am, where are you flying from? So I told Nikki her in-law works for United, and let's see how we can get a ticket. She said,
Tony, I'm going to need you later.
So I was like, let's ask her, let's try and get her tickets. At least we have to get her tickets, you know. We started rallying around, okay, we get mileage from here, maybe blah, 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 the earlier you buy a ticket. My mom kept on shouting, buy the ticket early. I kept on asking her, you know what, why, apart from, I just have to talk. You see, it shows a person's character and integrity. She could have charged me. She said, Elza, she called me, the last time I called her, I texted her, I said, ma'am, where are you flying from? Because we want to book your ticket, and so we want to buy business class of first. Is someone coming with you? If they're coming with you, we may not be able to pay business class or first class. She said, Elza, don't bother buying the tickets. I'll be in Charlotte. You don't have to. I went back to Nikki. I said, Nikki, we are not paying for the flight. She said, go back. Maybe she's making a mistake. Maybe she's coming to Charlotte for your event or something. She said, go back and ask. I called her. I said, this is Elza. You see, I started putting Elza. She said, don't worry, I'll be in Charlotte. You don't have to pay. Just take it. You know, I asked her what hotel. She said, anywhere. Just put me anywhere. She said, I'm coming with someone. She said, it even means you pull out a trundle bed. Just get somewhere for me. So, see, that shows character. She did not change her mind. Even her PR people are now asking her, why are you not charging this girl? She said, she asked me to speak first, and I've told her I will not charge. People ask me, have you signed up? Did I sign a contract with you, ma'am? No. Character. Wow. So that's just one of many. So I'm going to be introducing Miss Harville-Lebron. She's going to tell you more about herself. She said I should start calling her Miss. When she saw Nick Bola and I, she said, come here, I'm a hugger. Come give me a hug. I'm like, okay. Stop calling me ma'am, you know. Very nice lady. She has 7 children. 4 of them adopted. I think it's right. 4 are adopted. 1 with special needs, right? 2 with special needs. Adopted children. She's the first black female NASCAR team owner. She's the CEO of W Stone Entertainment. We're in the school yesterday. She came to talk to 5th graders. They loved her. She's the CEO of W Stone Entertainment. You're into music, right?
I have a music label.
She has a music label. So all of you that, hey, should I sing for you? Maybe I should audition. So we might charge you. You might charge me, right? Please, next time she will charge you if you're going to call her to speak. So don't think because she is just favored. So without much ado, I'm going to invite this wonderful woman, Melissa Harville-Lebron. And she's going to be motivating us, a woman in a white man's business. Yes. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies. Good afternoon. Oh, yes. She is such an amazing young woman. So amazing. I remember when she called me and she was like, is this Melissa Harville-Lebron? I said, it is. She said, oh my goodness. I said, it's fine, it's fine. And when she invited me to speak, I said, oh my God, I never spoke to a crowd. I said, I'm not a public speaker. She goes, oh, I'm gonna do this event, and you remember you were supposed to do it before this.
Yes.
And she called me, she said, we're gonna push it back. Are you still gonna speak? I said, I promise you, I'm still gonna speak. But I wanna tell you a little bit about my story and what my journey is, and how to stay encouraged when it seems like you're never gonna get to the end of your rainbow. I was born and raised in Staten Island, New York. I am the product of a single parent household where there was drug abuse, mental illness, and the one person that kept my family together was my grandmother. My grandmother was biracial. She really didn't fit in with the black side of her family from the South because she was too light, and she didn't fit in with the Caucasian side of her family because she had this hue of brown that was a little too much for them. My grandmother only went to school for 6 days, and when she passed away, she owned 17 multi-family dwellings across the country.
Wow.
So in my household, the word I can't was not part of my vocabulary. She would knock the absolute hell out of you if you said I can't, and then you'd have to sit here and listen to her tell her story about why she wasn't accepted within her family or within her community, and the fact that her parent chose, her mother's mother, her grandmother, chose to throw her out to her white father because them having a child that was biracial at that time in the South was an embarrassment to them. And my grandmother, I never saw this lady give up ever. I never seen her complain, and she ignited something in me. She implanted something in me that no matter what I did in life, I carried the respect of Willie Mae Stone throughout my entire career. And my businesses actually did not start to turn over for me, even with, and I'll give you some of my background later, but things did not start to change for me until I honored my grandmother by naming my parent corporation, Willie M. Stone Enterprises. It's W.M. Stone Enterprises. That's for my grandmother. And once I did that, once I acknowledged her and I celebrated her, I can't tell you how the blessings have been rolling in. But I'm going to give you a little bit more of my background. I originally started at Sony Music as an intern. Oh boy, all that glitters is not gold. That was the dream job, back in the 80s. I didn't want to be an artist. I tried that. I really didn't do well in front of the cameras, but I saw that the power is with the people who are behind the scenes. And that ignited something in me where I knew that I wanted to be a boss. I didn't know how to be a boss, but I knew that that's where I wanted to be. I wanted to be a decision maker because that's what was so important, that I could help somebody because there was nobody to help me in the music industry. Once I realized that the music industry had no stability, it was great, wonderful. In the 80s, I worked on Sade's project, her Love Deluxe album, I worked on that. Eric Gamble, Sister Sledge, I mean, the list just goes on and on. But there was no stability in it. There was no future in it for me. As long as I wasn't willing to play the politics of the music industry. So no, that didn't work for me. So I got a real job, which was New York City Department of Corrections. How many people have heard of Rikers Island? Okay, so I was a New York City correction officer for 15 years in Lower Manhattan. After 9/11, I got promoted and I was sent off to Rikers Island where I could really learn my job. I was the mental health observation captain of C95. I had 340 high classification males that were criminally insane. So if they killed somebody, it was not a daggone thing that we could do about it because we knew the environment that we were in. I was a captain for 6 years there. I never had a single ever major incident my entire career as a captain. I always took the time to listen and be proactive with the needs of not only just the inmates, but for my officers as well. If my officers were fighting, I was fighting. I've broken all 10 of my fingers. My career wasn't short-lived. I actually retired with an on-the-job injury, but that on-the-job injury changed my life. I was in a use of force, which was an incident involving an inmate where my officer illegally sprayed the inmate. That incident changed the course of not only my life, but my children's lives as well. I was forced to retire because I had inhaled chemical agents which burnt my lungs. That stopped me from breathing. And they had to perform CPR on me, and that caused me to be on a collision course for 2 years where I was intubated twice, and I had gotten to a point with my medical team, because I had doctors here that were specialists, doctors there that were specialists, and nobody could get me stable. I was in and out of the emergency room, ICUs, till it got to a point where my doctor came in one day, and he sat on my bed, and he said, Melissa, which bedside manners went completely out the window because he had really been fighting to save my life at that point. He said, Melissa, you have the worst case of asthma that I've ever seen in my office. He said, and I really don't know what else to do for you, which scared the hell out of me. He said, do you have a living proxy, a living will? I said, no. He goes, I want you to go home and get your personal affairs in order. And normally, when you hear that, you're like, so what are you saying? I'm gonna die? It pissed me off. Because I felt like, you're not in control of this. God is in control of that decision. And if you're giving up on me, that means I have to fight triple hard to push through what it is that you're saying to me, because I don't accept that. I was not prepared to die. Even though I was a single parent, and you know, Rikers Island, that job allotted certain things, certain liberties, but I was not prepared to die. I felt like I had not done enough for my children as a single mother. I had 3 children from a 16-year marriage, and I had assumed the responsibility for raising my sister's 3 little boys, and then I received my baby brother's daughter as well. So I'm like, I have all this responsibility. I can't die now, you know. This is not an option. This is not an option. So I became proactive in my health care, what my triggers were for asthma. I am a severe asthmatic. I have not been in the hospital for 2 years because I learned how to take care of me. And I hate to say it, and I hope there aren't any doctors or nurses here, the first thing I did was stop taking those 21 doses of asthma medication a day because it was making me sick. The Solumentrol, I had developed AFib. So I walked out of there with not only severe asthma, but a heart condition as well. And my doctor basically given up on me and telling me to go home, get my personal affairs in order so I could die and leave my kids without a mother. I took that energy and I transformed it. I made that my drive. So as soon as I felt better, I went back to the music industry, what was my original passion. And things were going wonderful. I was back in the studio with some A-list celebrities. We were planning a tour. And I got a phone call from a very good friend of mine who's very, very big in the industry. And he says, Melissa, I want you to come down to Orlando and do an artist development project for me for this aspiring driver in NASCAR. I'm like, okay, great. He said, I want you to produce an anthem track because I need you to put them on a press run up in New York. We're going to Good Morning America. I said, great. This is great. This will be wonderful for my label. So I get down to Orlando, and the driver, phenomenal singer, but they were having issues with NASCAR, and they saw what my business acumen was, and you know what my support staff looked like, and they were like, you know what, I think I could use you to help me with NASCAR. NASCAR has not a clue how to market me or what to do with me. Would you be interested? I'm like, sure, this is easy. I worked in promotion and publicity at Epic, so we break our artists. Anything that you do, you apply the same principles. So I was up for the challenge. I developed a 15-page marketing plan, and they said, well, would you mind accompanying me to this meeting? I said, sure. I'm not thinking much about the meeting. I'm always underestimating things. So when I walk into the meeting, it was with the president of diversity for NASCAR, it was with the head legal counsel for NASCAR, and it was with the vice president of operations. So my first encounter was straight to the top. I did not let that opportunity intimidate me. You know, I got in and I said, you know what, we're gonna pull up our boots and, you know, get to work. And they were impressed, and I'm so thankful that God gave me the ability to impress them. It created a level of respect and a friendship from there. From there, they had invited me to come down to a NASCAR experience where I brought my 2 sons. So the whole time I was working on this NASCAR project, my sons were in the background absorbing and consuming everything that they could about NASCAR. And it was the first time I had seen my 2 sons really apply themselves to anything, because they were fly by night. They went from being professional rollerbladers to skateboarders to snowboarding, everything that they could get their mother to spend her money on, my kids wanted to do. So I was like, all right. So they were like, you know, this is great, Mom, you know, we could do this. And I'm like, no, I'm not spending my money on that. That is way, first of all, we don't do that. I want y'all to be lawyers, doctors, anything, but we don't do that. You know, there's certain sports that we just do not participate in, and that was one of them. But I could not crush my children's spirit like that. So I said, okay. So when we got the invitation to go to the NASCAR experience, I said, this is it. This is my opportunity to discourage them, because now they're going to see it's more to playing a video game. This is real. This is a real life experience. So I was like, yes, this is going to work. So we get down there, and I had the video camera in one hand, a cell phone in another hand, and they're out on the track, and I am shaking in my boots. I'm like, my babies, how can I let them go out there and do it? But what I realized, they have their life to live, and we have to support their dreams. So as a mother, yes, I was scared for them, but I was happy to see them flying by the seat of their pants. So I'm running back and forth, and I literally tripped into a NASCAR official. He goes, what are you doing here? So I'm like, great. Now, you know I don't look like, you know, the rest of the landscape. I'm expecting, you know, a negative from him. But he wasn't. He was very encouraging. So I'm giving him the whole rundown about how I got there, why I was there, you know, and I wanted this to be a negative experience for my kids. So while we're speaking, my kids come running up, and they said, look, I told you we could do it. They drove 150 miles and 149 miles per hour, the first time they ever touched a race car. Wow. So he goes, well, listen. And he kind of dashed their little spirits a little bit. He said, you know, this is really for entertainment purposes. He said, but if you guys are going to be here, because he could see this drive, this passion that both of my sons had, he goes, I want to introduce you to somebody. And I'm like, okay. This is going well. He says, I'm going to introduce you to another team owner. They're going to have a practice tomorrow, a testing. I want you to bring your sons down. So I'm like, okay, how much is this going to cost me? You know, where's the punchline? Like, okay, this is going to be about $5,000. He goes, no. He said, I want you to come down. He said, I'm going to call the owner and tell him to expect you. Owner said, sure, be there 8 o'clock in the morning. My sons got the opportunity to be in a professional testing where they drove 186 and 188. So the gentleman calls and he goes, little lady, I think you're onto something here. I'm like, great. How much is this going to cost me? Because now we're shaking the piggy bank, the 401k. I'm cruising their college funds. I'm like, okay, are you sure this is what you guys want to do? And they're like, this is it. So I took them back to New York, and then the real fun began about teaching our children about ownership and generational wealth. The same thing that my grandmother had constantly pounded into me. Be in control of your own future. Own it. If you're going to do it, own it. I don't care if you own a little piece of it, but own it. Have a say-so in it. So that's where developing E2 Northeast came from. It was about teaching my sons about ownership and generational wealth, because we don't, as a culture, we don't teach our children about credit. We don't teach them about ownership. Our kids want to go out there and spend their money as fast as they get it to support another brand that could care less about them. Yep. They want $200 sneakers. I refuse to buy certain brands because they don't support our culture. But, you know, to each his own, to each his own. But I tell my kids, I said, if you're gonna do that, take that $200, instead of putting it on sneakers, pay for a lesson. Pay for a piece of safety equipment. Pay for something that's an investment in what you want to do, that's going to get you one step further. And it is important. Does anybody have any questions before I keep going on? So with that, once we got everything, we got the businesses incorporated. I searched to see who would be an attorney that could help us with putting this together. We got everything together, and I realized, like, okay, now what do I do? You know, I had the business incorporated. I trademarked the logo. Now what do we do? It was time to make that phone call to NASCAR. So I called NASCAR looking for some type of owner's workshop, you know, so I could learn my way around the business now that we were willing to, you know, ready to play ball. And NASCAR told me, they're like, no, we don't have an owner's workshop. And I'm like, well, why not? Everybody has some type of support when you have new participants. They're like, no, NASCAR, you know, this is a business that's handed down generation to generation. I'm like, okay. They're like, you're gonna have to figure it out on your own. I'm like, figure it out on my own? I'm from New York. I have 7 kids, and this is the most expensive sport in the world. And you want me to figure it out on my own? But that's exactly what I did, was figure it out on my own. I realized that they were not going to help me. It wasn't that they didn't want me in the sport, but it is a generational sport. You have great-grandfathers that pass it down to their grandsons, that pass it down to their other sons, and down to their sons. So now, I said, okay, I'm gonna have to go figure this out. It has been, I won't say hard, but the challenge. I really found out what I am made of, the stock in which I come from, because I had no help. I had, you know, everybody thought it was wonderful that I started this opportunity, but they don't understand the work that goes behind it, the criticism that goes behind it. You know, there are days when you're like, am I crazy? My money is evaporating and it's not coming in as fast as it is. And then you hit a windfall, you're like, oh, this is amazing. And I'm glad I did it. But the biggest thing for me is the fact that I'm able to pass this opportunity to somebody else, that I'm able to show with this platform what our culture is really about, with the respect that we have for ourselves, not the buffoonery that you see on television. Right. About we invest in our children. We want our children to succeed. And so many times they don't believe that about us, that we're even capable. They look at us like we're subhuman or something. So it is a great honor for me to be able to usher in the next fan base to NASCAR, because we are so underrepresented in NASCAR because there's no relatable image. So me being a woman and being the #1 economic spender in the world, we have a lot of power. Yes. And that is the one thing that I realized when I went into my first owners meeting, because I was definitely the pink elephant in the room and they thought I was the help. But I realized that I was the most powerful person in that room, because what I bring to the table, none of them can match. Yes. And that was destined by God. So when you were sitting there and you were having doubts and, you know, you feel like you are in this by yourself, and sometimes you will be in it by yourself. Sometimes those late dark hours and you're like, am I crazy? You keep going, you keep pushing. I say pray until something happens. I tell people all the time, push. Yes, push. It's on the bottom of my email. Anybody gets an email from me, you will see it. It says push, and I spell it out. Pray until something happens. Yes. Because you cannot do nothing in this world without God first. Yes. Nothing. Thank you. What else do I want to tell you? Oh, okay. About living your best life. So I want everybody to close their eyes for 2 seconds. I want you to envision what your deepest desire is. Your deepest desire. Like the one thing that you want to do more than anything else that nobody would ever suspect that you want to do. If it's being a pastry chef in the south of France, or clipping roses out of your garden and selling them on the side of the road. That energy, that love, that desire, that warmth that you feel in your soul is what you need to use to push on to your best life. Some of us are over that 40 range, so we are on the other side of the rainbow. So we need to be focusing on what makes us happy at this stage in our life. Not worrying about the failures, because those failures actually have refined you to the people that you are today. But take that and go out and live your best life. It is there for you. Think outside the box, swing by the seat of your pants. Thank you. Oh yeah, no more excuses, make adjustments.
Thank you very much, Alyssa. All right, so please support her. First black female in a white male sport. Her team is E2 Northeast Motorsports. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll send you her social media handle for the E2 North 2 Motorsports and her own personal social media, LinkedIn and everything. We need to support her. Tweet her about her, write about her. Let's get the attention of the major sponsors to help. Now we're going to have QA. So I'm going to call everybody that has spoken today, all our Bola, Nika is going to moderate. If you have any questions, we're going to have a panel here. Tara is here, Mr. Anderson is here, Bola is there. If you have any questions, and if we can't answer, we could also throw it open to anybody to answer. So we're just going to do Q&A because it's important to get feedback. You know, ask those questions that are bugging your mind. So let's.
And you can ask me whatever questions. I'm sorry.
Now you can ask.
My breathing was about to shut down on you guys. It's warm.
I'll sit down there, so if you have a question, you can ask me.
You got my team colors on.
Hello. I hope you're all enjoying ourselves. Okay, so we've come to the question and answer section. We have all our talented speakers here. If you have any question at all, they are ready to answer. You signify by raising your hand. So who goes first? Questions?
Come on, ladies. Y'all have questions. Anything. Okay.
Okay, Miss.
Miss Melissa was talking about the opportunity she had, but she had to learn the business. Can you tell me a little bit more about how you went about learning the business? Because a lot of the times we have good ideas, but execution becomes a problem because we don't have knowledge of how to go about it. So I just wanted us to learn more from you about how you overcame that obstacle.
Research. I read every single thing that I could, and I still continue to today, to obtain as much knowledge about the sport. So I tell people all the time to invest in your craft. Learn as much about whatever industry, whatever your interest is, as much as you can. I am probably the most challenged owner where they ask me questions about rear gears, gauges of steel, and they are amazed when I'm able to answer their questions because I know that they don't view me as an equal partner. So I would just say invest, research everything that you can, learn as much as you can about it.
Thank you. Any other questions?
My question is about NASCAR. That's not something that's usual for the Black community, I would say. I think my first encounter about NASCAR was just moving here to Charlotte. Can you just share a little bit more about the sport and how do you make money about it? Not that we want to steal the idea, but what's the potential, what's the opportunity in that?
Oh, there's huge opportunities in NASCAR. How we make money is advertisers, mainly. I stay away from loans. The one thing I was taught very, right out of the gate was do not use loans. You don't want to start off in the red when you're starting a business. Use your own personal funds. Be patient. Don't be in such a rush to jump out there and just spend the money because you have it to spend or the ability to go out and get a loan. I stay away from credit cards and loans because I feel they're the devil, but if I'm gonna spend it, at least I don't have to worry about having to pay double for what I just spent, But NASCAR is driven by advertisers. People pay a lot of money to see the cars go around. That impression is very valuable to an advertiser, and that's what they pay for, and they pay a lot of money for that. So that is how we make our money. What I'm looking to change about the industry is the cost. It can be a lot more cost efficient than what it is. As you see, there is a huge turnover right now in NASCAR. They're losing the superstars in NASCAR because the sponsors are leaving. They're leaving, some of them are leaving because they're not getting an ROI, a return on their investment. They're putting up 20, 30, 50, $80 million, and that driver that they've been supporting for the last 2 or 3 years won't even come out and do any community-based work with their consumers that they are making this money from. So that is a huge issue. And I tell my sponsors that, when I'm pitching, I said, we'll do in stores, we'll go to schools, we'll go wherever it is that you want us to go to, because we need to be on that track. We need to show our community that it is possible, that this is it is a very lucrative employment source as well. You have car chiefs that make $400,000 a year. And basically they're just that's another word for the lead mechanic. I mean, really, it's amazing. I am on schedule to employ 65 people at my race shop. So I'm looking for women. I'm looking to create STEM programs so we can teach the children early that this is another source of employment for you that is extremely lucrative. And them being able to design their own cars, even design parts. NASCAR changes parts like we change, what? They do, just to keep the money rolling in, whatever they need to do. And it's a huge, huge opportunity. So pushing education and the ability, the opportunity is so, so very important. And that's what I'm looking to change about the sport. It is open, the doors are open for us to come in.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Questions?
Okay. This might seem like a real, weird question, but how do you learn how to ask questions? Because there's so many of us here, everybody, I know people are thinking things and they've probably been thinking all day, but they don't know what questions to ask sometimes. So even when you're doing research, like what am I looking for? Like what question should I be asking to start this business or to start this blog or become this life coach? Like, how do you learn how to ask questions?
Sometimes just simply asking, well, how did you get started? I did not know that I was the first African-American woman to solely own a team until I called NASCAR looking for assistance for an owner's workshop and realized that there wasn't any information for them to give me because basically, like I said, it had been a generational sport. And from there, it was just, I had to figure it out on my own because this was not just about me. This was not about me at all, to be honest. This was about my sons. And the fact that I would not let this business opportunity fail because I developed it for them. I wanted them, if this is what they truly wanted to do, I was going to do everything in my power since I had gotten a death sentence everything in my power to make sure that this was successful to them, that I was going to leave them in a better place where they would be decision makers because unfortunately in our society, our children, especially if they are a young black male, they are already deemed a failure. And the darker the color of their skin, the worse it is for them, unfortunately. And that is something I just do not accept. So I would say ask questions. No questions, no questions ever stupid.
You mentioned that.
You want me to come back up there? I'm rested now. I probably got my brush back. This is warm. It just affects my asthma sometimes. I'm back.
So you mentioned something about STEM.
Yes.
Can you elaborate a little bit more on how NASCAR is able to incorporate STEM into its platform and environment?
I have to give you a politically correct answer to that. NASCAR will support certain things that they are able to be a part of or control the progress of. For me, I'm independent of NASCAR. I do not play the political game with them. They have not given me a dime. They have been very supportive of me coming into the sport. And we are constantly in communication. They know that this is not about money for me. This is about an opportunity to bring my culture to the platform with a relatable and a respectable image. The STEM programs are I mean, hands down, the sport cannot continue without it. There's science involved in NASCAR, a great deal of science that people don't realize. They think that it's just a fast engine and just goes left, left, and left. It does not. It is, I tell people, I said, after my first testing, I realized how crazy we are to speed over 80 miles per hour in our car, because you have no idea what a risk you are taking by driving at an excessive rate of speed in a regular environment. People just do not understand it. So it's educating the public as well with this opportunity. But the physics that goes into one, keeping those drivers on the ground when they're traveling at that rate of speed. And the fact that when they crash, and oh yes, they do crash, that driver is able to get out of that vehicle alive. When they sustain, they're running at almost 200 miles per hour, and they will hit a wall dead on and not walk out with a single bruise. So this is based on science. So of course, the STEM programs are extremely important. So my thing is to teach the children young. Teach them young. This is, like I said, this is a whole nother opportunity for employment. I have to employ 65 people. Did I answer the question?
Fascinating. Yeah, thank you.
Do you foresee your company possibly offering scholarships to students who are going to the engineering or science field?
Absolutely. I want to start, I've been in conversations with 2 states right now to bring my team, to move my team south. And it is based, part of the decision is where is the support from the community. It's not just about the money that they're offering me, it's about how do we take this opportunity and create opportunities within the community with scholarships, with summer youth programs, with employment, these work for hire programs with the county, to work within public assistance. I don't know what it's called down here in North Carolina, but public assistance is public assistance. But getting people off of having this crutch of welfare and putting them back into the work field and giving them sustainable employment that they can progress in, no matter whether they have criminal records, no matter whether they have 6 kids at home, giving them as much support as possible.
And just to piggyback off that, with your experience in the criminal justice system, is that something that you think would benefit repeat offenders or just people in getting them back into the society? Like, is that something that you would consider? Like,
Of course. Everybody deserves a second chance. And sometimes people have made mistakes based on them being a product of their environment. When you have a child that cannot walk to school, without being tormented by the local gang or seeing crack vials or, the local alcoholic or just somebody that's out there trying to feed their babies, that the only way they can get $1 is to rob somebody and take it from them, of course. They don't always want to hear that. They're like, okay, you're not going to come down here and reform our county, are you? I'm like, no, but I'm going to make sure that with this opportunity I'm given, that I'm going to give back. Somebody gave me a chance, and I intend to give a chance to someone else. Anybody else? Nobody? No takers? Come on, somebody ask me a question.
What do you like to do for fun?
Fun? I don't have fun. I work 24/7. I'm on the grind. I eat. I eat. And I play with my makeup. I didn't start wearing makeup until I was 40. And how that developed was me being in the hospital all the time with my asthma. I would lay there and be depressed because I had blown out another IV and I couldn't sleep because of the heart fit, the AFib. And I just started watching makeup tutorials, and before I knew it, I had makeup. And Mr. Edie can tell you I have way too much makeup. I donate makeup to charities because it became my comfort zone, when I couldn't get out of bed. And there was nothing else that I could really do but sit there and try to make myself feel better. So that and play with my kids.
You mentioned about Sony. So what's the connection with Sony?
Oh, I worked for the vice president of promotion and publicity. That's why I said I worked on Sade's Love Deluxe album.
What's your degree?
Degree? I never finished college.
Really?
I didn't.
So how did you get into the public relations? Because I love everything about public relations. I was that kid, like, he was like, I want to be a firefighter or a doctor. I was like, I want to be a public relations person. He was like, what? Like, I was like, I want to go into PR. So how did you like integrate your way in with, I guess, how they say now, no education? Because everything else has a degree.
I'm short 9 credits. I just don't have the time to go back. I love education. Actually wanted to be an attorney. It's the passion, it's the drive that you have. When you have that drive, and that's what I was saying about closing your eyes and envisioning what you really want to do. Because that hunger that you have is going to drive you. That's going to be your momentum to be the best at it. And the fact that you don't have an education, you're going to have to work twice as hard, so you think, but you won't, because that passion is really going to fuel you. And you're going to do the best job ever. Because you yourself are going to always have in the back of your head, well, I don't have an education, so somebody's going to view me as not being as qualified. That's going to make you do an even better job. So do not be afraid. Go on out there and do it. Anybody else?
Well, excuse me, you said my original question. My other question though was, how do you dominate in a white man's world?
Because God made me a black woman, and I pushed through the challenges.
I get along, if I can say, like, I'm in the military, and I work in a very small special operations field with all white men. So as soon as I say anything, it's kind of like, oh, there goes that black girl with the attitude. It's like, no, that's not, I'm just trying to speak up. Like, how do you speak up and out without seeming condescending or that black woman with an attitude?
I remain a professional at all times. When I need to show my teeth, I show my teeth. This is my personality all the time. So if I raise my voice, they will know that something is wrong. So I'm mindful of how I communicate, you know. But if I need to show my teeth, I do. But I do it professionally and respectfully, where it doesn't come back and bite me too hard in my butt. But I do get my point across. And I love playing chess with them. I love being in the boardroom because, unfortunately, in any business, when a woman is involved and a woman is in power, they deem you as either inferior, they feel that you're not as intelligent, or basically it's sexual harassment.
Yeah.
So.
Can I add to that? I get when I worked at Verizon, the same thing. Most of the managers, they were male and white male. I've had situations where people came to the store and I was a manager there, and I'll be talking. They'll just see a white guy and they walk over to you and they're like, "No, that's the manager." I've had situations like that, and it's peculiar that when you're female and you're in leadership, they call you the B word. They call you mean because you have to. It's not like you have to sort of be fierce, or else people will not take you serious. But like she said, you have to have a good attitude and you have to keep pushing because the truth of the matter is like I shared, the fact that there were all black females on this flight, people automatically assumed it was a black female event. I said, why does it have to be that because we're all black females? It's a female event and it's for black women. No, we just have talented black women speaking. It's open to all. So you have to just keep pushing. It's the stereotype. Unfortunately, it is there. You meet it in several, but you have to represent. So good job being in the military. Applaud you for that. You know, we just have to keep representing. Unfortunately, it's just how we are. We talk passionately. Most of us that are black. I mean, we have to then start embracing who we are, celebrate it, ignore the stereotype, bring out the best, and show the best of who you are wherever you are. People will respect you after a while when they know you know your stuff.
Oh yeah.
I just have a quick question about your sons as drivers. I view them or the positioning them as the owner. We have a lot of black young men who they aspire to be like basketball players, they see role models. Do you see a future for young black boys as drivers?
Of course. I cannot begin to tell you how many phone calls I've gotten from male and females wanting to be drivers because they never thought the opportunity was open to them. They never thought that someone would view them seriously about wanting to be drivers. And I've met some of the most amazing, I'm like, you should have been on the track years ago. I wish I had enough money to take on all of the talented drivers that have come to me because it's just amazing. You know, with the opportunity, and the opportunity will present itself, and I will create programs and training camps and things of that nature so that those drivers do get an opportunity. They don't have to sign with me, but as long as they get the opportunity, and that's what this is about, is opening the door so everybody feels welcome to come into the sport. There is a place for them.
I have two questions. My first question is, what are some best tips for balancing motherhood with your work? And also, I don't know how old the children are, but what are some things that you've heard them say over the year that they've learned from you, something, or have said that they appreciate that you taught them over the years?
Balancing childhood. Well, my children are 24, 23, 21, 15, 10, and a 4-year-old. Did I miss anybody? No, I got it right. That was 7, right? That was 6, 24, 23, 21, 15, 14, 10, and 4. Balancing, I barely sleep. I work 24/7 sometimes. Sometimes my brain is just so creative that I can't sleep. I'll wake up 3 o'clock in the morning and I got papers all over the place. But I try to every day still remain their mother, which is very important. I don't, I pushed off my press runs because, as she said, I have 2 children that I adopted that have special needs, which are mental health issues. And that is another platform that I want to speak about because all too often the school systems want us to push medication on our children because they just want them to sit still. And they deem them attention deficit when that is not necessarily the issue that they have. Sometimes there are mental health issues that are prevalent in our communities that they are newly diagnosable at the age of 13. Schizophrenia presents itself at 13. I didn't know that until I had to go through it. So it's, like I said, this is a huge opportunity for so many things, to be a voice that needs to be heard for so many things that plague our community. And it's not just about crime, it's not just about drugs. Mental health is huge. Lack of opportunity is huge. So, did I answer the question? Because I'll get off. People ask me like 15 questions and I have one question. It'll take them 10 minutes. I'm like, all right, let me get to the first question and then try to answer the last question.
All right, so my question are you all sitting out there? This life coach thing, some people have limitations, regardless of what they decide to do. What does a life coach do to kind of like help that person or change that?
As far as the limitations?
As far as, yeah, like there's some inherent limitations that people have, regardless of what they want to do. Maybe color, just something. It's natural. You can't change it, right?
Right.
But you want to do something different. You want to do something that's out there. How do you, as a life coach, how would you help such a person? Kind of like get over that limitation. I know something like the word limitation.
I make myself accessible to everybody, and to answer your question, I speak to my children every day. Every day, my kids the fact that my children look at me to solve the problem, to make it happen, that's what encourages me. I cannot fail at this. And I have the responsibility of showing pretty much the world what we are as a culture, what we are capable of, that we carry ourselves with respect, that we are business people, that we are professional when, so all too often what you see on television, I don't support a lot of the shows that are on there, unfortunately, because I feel like they should utilize that opportunity to encourage people who feel like they don't have an opportunity to be a role model. Unfortunately, if you're going to be on television or you're going to be in the public eye at all, you are a role model. And you need to carry yourself as such. because somebody is watching. There's some little child, there may be an adult that says, you know what, when they hear my backstory about coming from a single parent household, that is prevalent in our community. You know, that's not something that's not unheard of. It's prevalent in our community that people come from single family households, that there was drug abuse, that there was mental illness, you know, and I want them to see what my struggles were and that I did not let that deter me. If anything, it encouraged me to move forward because I wanted to get so far away from that stigmatism and be judged for who I am and what I am capable of and not that of which I come from. So I am extremely supportive wherever I can be. I tell people all the time, my staff gets mad at me, but I tell people, I'm like, call me, pick up the phone. The most you're gonna get, I might be sleeping or I may be in a meeting, I'm like, I'll call you back. You know, like I told Elizaphan, I'm like, just call me, I'm there. I'm on social media, those are my phone numbers, actual phone numbers, those are my actual emails. It may take me a minute to get back to you because the volume's picking up, but I will get back to you. But I'm definitely there to lend a hand, encourage as much as I can. I come from each one, teach one, so that's my motto. Did I answer the question?
I have a question. Do you sit on the board, on any board at all, and how do you develop yourself as a speaker?
I'm still trying to master that one because I always get off track. But I do sit on several boards. I sit on a children's cancer charity. I'm a vice president of another company. But as public speaking, study, take courses, you know, I would say write out a summary and try to stick to that summary. You know, use keywords. I call them fire words to keep you on track. Because I'm a rambler, I'll talk all day long. You know, whenever I do speaking engagements, it's like everybody's my girlfriend and we just chit chat and chop it up and you could ask me anything. I don't have anything to hide. I'm proud of my obstacles and my struggles because it will encourage somebody else not to be intimidated by their past, that they can push through it and push past it.
Thank you. As a follow-up to the board question, how did you get on those seats? You get nominated or you push yourself forward?
I did. I was nominated and I was invited. That means y'all tired, you know. Oh, here you go, Nikki. You sneaking up on me. Watch it. You know I used to do it.
I know, right? And with that, we've sadly come to the end of this conference. I hope if you enjoyed yourself, can I see your hands? If you learned something, can I see your hands? If we're going to have this again, let's say hypothetically speaking, some crazy idea comes again, we're going to do this next year. If you'll be here, can I see your hands? Absolutely. If you're going to come with someone, can I see your hands? Thank you, I really appreciate it. See, I just want to appreciate, like I said, everybody. You have to step, she didn't tell you the part where an opportunity came and she had a business plan. And like you said, if you want to sit on the board, sometimes you just have to put yourself out there, you know. You just have to take a step on the yeah, you know, you just have to keep moving. So I'd like to appreciate everybody for being here, taking your time, your money, your resources, coming out with your things, you know, believing. I'm nobody, but for you to have honored this invitation, we were so grateful. I just want to say thank you to everybody that is here, that spent time. We had some people that had to leave because today is like a very, very busy day. I just want to appreciate everybody that registered, that reposted. Thank you very much. Everybody that encouraged, thank you very much. I really, really appreciate you. I want to appreciate. See, I thank God for my husband. You know, I don't want to appreciate him when he's not here because he's a very, very wonderful person. I've had so many crazy ideas. Sometimes you'll be like, you started again. But when push comes to shove and I need something, it doesn't matter what you need. He starts sacrificing everything. Say, here, go ahead. We just have to make sure this thing is good. So I just want to appreciate you very much. That's him in the back there. Thank you very much. I thank God for him. I want to appreciate my mom. I want to appreciate the speakers here. So I do have like certificates of appreciation for my girl Tara. Please talk to her. She's such a wonderful person. I never knew that our meeting at Verizon, our paths would keep crossing this way. You know what I say? Every woman has like a pair of shoes and a pair of slippers. Because after a while, we get tired and we flip. Thank you, Tara. This is from AFAB. Thank you very much for being here. Nobody collected anything. They heard about the idea and they jumped on it. Thank you very much, Tara. Miss Anderson, Nika told me about her. I was like, I know her. I didn't know she was a life coach. She was like, yeah, talk to her. And I didn't. I just want to appreciate you, ma'am. She's even coached me through the process. When I told her everything, sometimes she talked to me. She called, found out if I needed anything. Thank you very much, ma'am. I appreciate you. And to my friend Bola, thank you for reminding me what I needed to do. We talk, it's like, I think as if I've known her for years. I've only known her 2 years. But we have our quarrels, especially when we inquire. But when we talk, I'm telling you, when we inquire rehearsals, oh my God, we can butt heads. But other than that, when we talk, we encourage ourselves. If I tell her an idea, should we do it this way? She tells me an idea. That's what we do most of the time, going back and forth. So thank you very much. I appreciate you for following. Yeah, she's taller than me. I thought I was the tallest, you know. Thank you very much, Bola.
I want that jacket.
This is for Gracinda. I met her at the gym and she appreciated it. Now, she doesn't know I'm giving her a certificate. Nika is a wonderful person. Hers is not a certificate of appreciation, it's a certificate of outstanding service. I don't know why she just helps me. In fact, I'm almost moved to tears. I told her, you know, Nika, stop working, please. She's looking for a job. She's very good. She will help you with anything. So I'm advertising her. She works with me. You know, she just helps me. And in the process, her contract ended. Not like she lost it. She was working on the contract, so her contract ended. And during the process, she said, Elza, I'm going to give you money. I told her first. I didn't ask her. I didn't collect the money at first. I said, no. You're not working now. See, I'm even, she came and she said, no, Elza, take. This is my contribution. And I called her orders after midnight, early in the morning. So, Nikki, I just want to really, really appreciate you for being a very supportive person. Thank you very much. My sister from another mother. And last but not the least, we have this IDTM Excellence Award for breaking new grounds and promoting diversity that we are presenting to Melissa. So I'm going to hand it to Nikki to present it to her. Like I said, for breaking new grounds and for promoting diversity. So we are presenting this from AFAB to Ms. Melissa Harville-Lebron. Thank you. So pictures, please, paparazzi, pictures. And with that, we've come to the end. Please, I want you to, like you have your phones out now, do me a favor. Text anything to this number, 704-733-9423. Just text info. We're going to send you the social, 704-733-9423. Text info. We're going to send you information on all the speakers. We're going to send you the social media and everything. There are two people here. They're both outside. There's a girl called Somto. She's the official makeup artist. She did my makeup. Wow. She's awesome. Yes. She didn't even charge me. Same thing. Awesome spirit. I woke up early. She's not been in here because she's been doing makeup. She made lunch yesterday. Please love on her. Appreciate her. Yeah, she a restaurant. Yeah. She cooks for Miss Melissa. Oh, awesome. I tasted some of the food. Please love on her. And Nika's husband, Raphael. He's outside. He's been taking pictures. He takes amazing pictures. Please go through the folder. Support all the dreams. We have all the flyers of all the vendors in there. Please support them. Thank you very much. We'll let you know when another event is coming out. I need to be bigger, better, and maybe Miss Melissa. Can we take a group picture? Yeah, we'll take a group picture. Thank you very much. And with that, we've come to the end. If you have 704-733 9423. So we're going to take who's taking the pictures? You did? Yeah, we need some more photos.